Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. And look who we got in the daytime, even though it looks like dark over here. That is so weird. I cannot get the lighting right in this room for nothing, man. So I'm so glad to have the Gal Pal posse back together. Yeah, and in the daytime, no less. BZ, you are in a beautiful spot. I'm so glad that you have internet connectivity for today. That's wonderful.
I have some devices that will connect and
Yeah, some that won't.
some don't. Then it's
So,
like a popcorn popper.
yeah.
When it does connect, it's like
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you'll get a whole string. Did you ever get all those texts? Okay, cool.
Oh, good.
That was good. And you know what? It dawned on me after the fact. I didn't get a confirmation that you'd gotten them. And I see, I'm not used to that on my phone. That's a new thing with a new update or something. I don't know. Anyway, enough with that. BZ suggested a title that I just love because that's really been quite the theme in one way of feeling into it for myself, and that I love it. BZ, you come up with bet on yourself to materialize your dreams, and I like that. I mean, I'm not generally a gambling sort of person, but I'm feeling very adventurous these days. And that's sort of the same energetic, you know, in a way.
well,
Yeah.
it's you could say take a risk, except that you realize when you bet on yourself, there is no risk at all. In fact, you've eliminated all the risk because you have the house, you are the house, and everything is in your favor.
No, that's exactly correct. I mean, this whole, the idea even about the conscious conversation caravan. All right. So that's been a big thing. There's a lot of unknowns in that. Lot of unknowns in that. But I am excited about the prospect of it. I'm not rushing it. I'm not running into anything. I'm allowing it all to unfold. But it's I don't know, it feels very delicious in a whole bunch of different ways. And uh, things are constantly revealed to me that uh, when I feel into it, it feels like the right direction, and I'm so relaxed into it will happen when it's time and all of that, and there's a lot of dreams actually. So that's why I really liked your title here because there's wow, I'm really dizzy right this second too, even just feeling into the expansiveness of all of this. Because in a way, for me, what what I'm talking here about, is it's like stepping off into the great unknown in a lot of different ways. And it just feels delicious. And I equate it a lot to the feeling of stepping outside of my limitations, the boxes that, because we all, whether we want to believe it or not, for me personally, I see that I have created a lot of boxes for myself. And some of them are a little bit bigger than others. And I might step out of a really constricting box into a little bit bigger one, right?
Well, and the other thing too is you can hold it, you could think about it, you could play with it, as in, materialize your dreams. Oh, I've got a dream of this, and it's this big, and it's this house, or going to this place, or having this job. Yeah, absolutely. But as what you just said, you could step out your door and materialize, bet on yourself and materialize your dreams, and realize all the ways that you not only do not bet on yourself, do not stand for yourself, do not show up for yourself, do not honor yourself, but you bet against yourself
Oh, that's
constantly,
good too.
all over the place.
Yeah.
So just taking a breath and being in that moment and go, oh, I'm betting on myself, right? It's me. I'm the house. I'm betting to win, and I'm going to go forward with whatever that is. If that's, pre-scripting something, pre-playing, pre-paving forward something that a phone call you got to make, or if you don't wear a mask and you're going out into mask bill out there, that, whatever it is, because it's turning and changing everything. It's putting everything in. Okay, that's an interesting way. So it's putting everything in a way that's you centric in your focus in how you view things, which is actually the creation point, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, so someone just said, well, but isn't that selfish? No. Because if you have a project, you could say same kind of thing. If a projector, a film projector, right, at the movie theater is projecting something out, if the projector isn't there, if the projector is not projector centric, if the projector is not starting with projector in mind, the film doesn't get on the screen. It's not selfish that the projector is there. That's the creational force of illuminating that picture on the screen. But again, it's those questions come up, probably not even, absolutely not even, consciously thought of, but it's like this loop that someone handed you. You came out of the womb, they smacked you on the ass, and they handed you this loop of
system. Yep.
Yeah, see, that's pretty much what we're, like what you said, Lisa. Here's your belief systems. Step right up. This is how this works.
Yeah.
And it's
while you were, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
While you were talking earlier, BZ, I was calling to mind one of my favorite David Thoreau pieces where he talks about daring to live the life which you have imagined, right? And just to, be bold enough to walk toward that. That man meets with a success unexpected in common hours. And it's calling to mind a conversation we had recently about complexity. Doesn't mean complicated or difficult. It can be so complex and simple and beautiful and achievable. And it's about investing, for me, my currency, my focus and attention on me, knowing that the dividends are there. The return from that is guaranteed. And so that's the betting or investing in myself and where that comes from. And then just advancing confidently in the direction that if I have dreamt it up, if this heart desires it, then it is worth every step I take in that direction.
Yes.
And to do so with such conscious gratitude makes the journey just all the more delicious, really.
Yeah. So break it down even further to what Lisa's saying. So the steps, so your literal steps, it could be, you've got to go and get some paperwork done. You have to go and research something. You want to go look at something, right? Those kinds of steps. But a lot of the steps, it's like what I was playing with earlier today on the quantum porch that I did, those steps are internal to you. So you're going forward confidently in each step that you're taking, and the steps are on all of your body levels, on all of your frequency ranges that you're working with, and how you're communicating with yourself, with getting yourself in sync to go take that journey, to bet on yourself, to go forward. If it's I can't, or you don't understand, or they won't let me, or well, where are you in all of that? And why'd you leave the building?
Well, that's the question of the moment.
Like that.
Say what, Lisa?
Why did you abandon you like that?
No, that is, honestly, that is the question of the moment. Where are you in all that is going on in these moments of now? For me, that's what, because I mean, that's not what we were taught, and all of that. And I get it, but it's time for me anyway. The programming and conditioning, we've all had it, and we're all, for me anyway, that's what I see. Uh, as it begins to drop away, because make no mistake, it feels like it's dropping away, not just for those of us that have been seeking that, but now it's beginning to, at least on some levels, there are some that are going, okay, hold it. What? Wait a minute.
No, it's
There
just
are some.
falling away. Each little piece of something that you're on is everything else is falling away. And actually it's falling away, but you're not.
No, that's right.
So the
Exactly.
sense is you're rising up.
We're here to stay.
You're actually rising up out of what's falling away. You're phoenixing all over the place, because it's not like, everything's falling away and you're like now in this dustbin rubble trying to, claw your way up. It's
Yep.
falling away and you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm walking on water. I'm walking on air. And wow. And the land is rising up. The new world, the new ocean is receding and rising up to meet me. Where Lisa's, thoughts are coming in that you walk confidently into the next stages and look around and say, wow, I'm planting my awareness here and my beingness here. And
Nice.
it's so far an anathema to being selfish that it's actually pretty astonishing. Because
Well,
what shows up when you do that is all these delicious fits where pieces are fitting, things are fitting, people are fitting, circumstances, events, situations, ideas, creations, all that are fitting in with that. And things that you never really were in your consciousness or you're in your line of sight to see before are suddenly right there, because you've taken all the other stuff away.
well, I have to say that for me, the most helpful thing, well, it's not the most helpful thing, but one of the most helpful things, you talk about, bet on yourself. Well, and also you were speaking just there about, it's the farthest thing, an anathema, actually, to being selfish. And that's where, see, I can see, sense, and feel how the twist, where we were really good at distracting ourselves with, dazzling with bullshit, as I like to say, right? Where
And be dazzled.
that's right, right? So because of the way I, at this juncture, see, sense, and feel what is actually going on around here with us all being one and yet singular, that's the entire name of the game, is being selfish in a way, not in the derogatory way that most people think of. But if you're not, I don't know, if I'm not respecting myself, paying attention to myself, loving myself, if I don't give these things to myself, how do I think I'm going to give them to anybody else?
Or expect anybody else to give them to you.
Right? So that's why I said this is a very huge twist, and done on purpose, you see, to say, yeah, but there's this over here. And I get it. I was kind of lost in that for a while, but I don't know, just
well, look, I mean, I don't want to go too far down this tangent rabbit hole, but if you look at one of the most recent twists on something, and the punitive cajoling. Take the masks just for a minute, and be, what's the phrase? It's be courteous to somebody else and wear a mask. Care and wear a mask. And when you can look at and then you had the whole brouhaha when a certain being got home last night and took their mask off home when they were home, right? Because it's standing for yourself. That in itself, when you educate yourself to what's really going on, then you see that that's, again, the best thing you can do for yourself.
Well, that goes really, really deep. That whole thing, actually, if you ask me, that very specific twist, actually, doing for others. I'm doing this for you because I care about you. When in fact, is that actually so? In a lot of different ways, it doesn't leave. There's for the way I feel when I feel into that very specifically. There's a difference between. See, because with the energetic that is rising right now is sovereignty on every level. It's sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel. This is an underlying, and part of that is, by the way, for me, the fact that we really truly are moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about freedom and the people and that sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And there's an underlying energetic of martyrs as well. The whole I'm wearing a mask for you, right? Because that is ending. That's Pisces, that whole thing, Christ on a cross being the martyr for you, that is ending, right? And that, for me, this is what I see. These are all really huge, large energetics.
Well, the subterfuge is ending. I mean, if
right,
what you were just talking about there, what is the core component of was there and now leaving? And it's the subterfuge, it's the misdirection, it's the obfuscation and covering over, and then putting a shiny thing in front of it to make you not see, oh wait a minute, there's something buried under there. You're withholding something from me. So if you bet on yourself to materialize your dreams, what does that feel like? I mean, and maybe we start with the other way around. So have you been looking at something that you want to do, or feeling something that you want to change in yourself or create or whatever it is, and how many times in a day, that would be a long time span, do you not bet on yourself? And how much of that is unconscious?
Well, I can tell you from my own perspective, there's a lot of that going on for me, with me, solely me, not even looking out to, all them other me's out there. I'm looking at this one right here in this chair. And like the three of us actually had a bit of a conversation the other night that I actually shared in my live. I've been doing that to myself. Not taking care of me on a whole bunch of different levels, the physical level, the emotional level, the spiritual level, all sorts of levels that I wasn't even really paying attention to. And see, there's the ticket right there. I wasn't paying myself the attention that I deserve, that I require, that is necessary for me. Doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. I became aware of this in a very visceral fashion over the last several weeks. That's why when you wanted to talk about this, yeah, I'm making little strides, and I'm not mad at myself or anything, but like you said, how many little different ways? Well, I'm discovering a whole crap ton of little different ways that I just wasn't, looking out for and doing the very best for me. just little tiny things like stretching. That is a huge thing for me. And I wasn't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite delicious when I do it, right? So that sounds very, again, back to Lisa, what Lisa said. It is a complexity and it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds really simple, right? Like, oh, Sheila, why weren't you doing that? Well, I don't know. There's a whole lot of reasons why. And I don't even want to think about that anymore. I'm just grateful that because I used the word choice point. I shared that and I don't know where it came from, but obviously I needed to hear that word.
Well, especially right now, every moment of now is a choice point. This
Yeah.
is this is a choice point. And here comes a choice point. I am now at a major choice point. They just keep coming. And because of that, you can't go take a nap in the back room and
Right.
just allow now to take care of itself, because somebody will use their focus and attention, and will usurp that my own currency that I have to make my life that which I wish to experience next. And so if I'm not experiencing that with which I wish to experience next, it's because I'm not doing that. I'm not paying attention to what it is that I wish to experience next. And it's so fun and easy when you get started, because there becomes a momentum, it grows, it takes
Yes.
on a life of its own. And when you begin to interact with synchronicity in this way, where you realize that all of life is a dance and it's for my enjoyment and at my pleasure, it changes absolutely everything that I do. And maybe it's not, and this is again, the complexity and the simplicity at the same time. I'm not doing anything differently. I'm doing everything differently. So everything changes and nothing changes simultaneously.
I know what you're saying there, actually, Lisa. I love that. You said it in just that specific way, too. I actually had a bit of a conversation with myself this morning in which I asked the question, is what I've been experiencing here over the last few days the bliss that a lot of folks speak of? And I got a yes for myself. Now, uh, and I think it arrives when, because there's really been an anchoring within my physical vessel over the last maybe month and a half or so, about really grokking on the alchemical epiphany level that everybody gets to choose. And the beauty, what that's actually the beauty, all the arguments in the entire world, all the upset and all the drama, I don't care where you look or what you're talking about or what the situation is, comes in when somebody wants so desperately for everybody else around them to choose what they want. And when they don't, they get upset. And see, that's again too, for me, that is again at the bottom line, that energetic of moving from everybody has to do this one way, the whole, again, right, wrong, good, bad, all those things. We all have to conform. We're all doing it this way. This is the way we want our society. That's a socialist saying. It's also, all of that, right? It's all that same thing that for me is leaving, because real true sovereignty is everybody gets to choose. Nobody has to play on the same playground. Doesn't mean we love anybody any less. It just means I don't want to play that game you got going on over there. I love you. You go play that. Like I said, all the drama, all the problems, all the issues start happening when everybody thinks, and especially, like I said, for me, that bottom line, there's complexities in there. But at the bottom line of it, that's what it feels like. There's a conformity that someone wants everybody to think this way feel this way, and they're wrong if they don't think this way, feel this way, act this way.
Well, what you're describing at the bottom of that is love or fear. Those are
That's
the
exactly
only
right.
two frequencies, truly. I mean, we can have shades of them in all certain ways, and
Right.
love is love absolute. So it includes everything, all things, and no things yet to be created into thingness. And the other is that holding, that attachment to that. We all have to do it this way. Oh, but what do you mean you're going to bet on yourself? Well, who's going to take care of me? You.
No, exactly. That's why I said this.
But I mean, that's why, you know, the chuckle is actually a beautiful, loving chuckle, because it's the astonishment in that moment when someone says to you, and you go, me? Wait, me? I'm going to take care of me? I'm going to decide what I want? I'm going to have my own dreams and decide. For many, many, many beings, that's a revolutionary thought.
Yeah.
To not only have that, to play with it, to conjure it, to, wow, how do I do that? And to realize that you're the engine, you are the value, the currency, the motor, the modus operandi, that which brings it forth. You're the frickin' Big Bang, and you make it.
Yeah, I know.
And that's where we are right now. We're all realizing, hey, wait a minute, I'm the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Well, because I'll tell you, for me, again, just for me, I hear a whole bunch of, but wait a minute, you don't understand. And I get it. No, I really do. I get that, because that is still a programmed condition too. And it is, you're right, it is still there. The I don't understand. I do understand. I do get it. That, right now the collective is still playing certain kinds of games, and not everybody has certain kinds of things to do certain kind of stuff with. And therefore, and in conclusion, it's hard to have that dream come true. Except that all of those things don't absolutely have to be on the table in a very specific order, in a specific way. This is where, for me, it gets all tangly up, because we get attached to thinking it's supposed to come in a certain kind of way. And if I don't have this, I can't do that. But see, there's a whole lot of scheduling and thinking going on about that too, instead of just feeling, well, I feel like this is the way I want to go, and so I'm going to move towards that. Might take me a bit if that's the case, but I'm just going to keep. That's why I have really, and I honestly, this is the way it is for me now. I am living the idea that I only move towards what I desire, what brings me the greatest joy in every moment of now that presents. Right? That is it.
Well, and just for the, you don't understand, because I get that a lot. And in every shade, I've been actually in the part that generates the you don't understand. So it's a frequency thing before it's a materialized thing. So if you're talking about, well, and I won't speak specifically to it, but a lot of the people who are telling you don't understand to you, Sheila, they kind of shared what it was that's their dream, and but you don't understand because all these things are standing in the way or thwarting or not enoughing or whatever the dream. Okay.
Right.
But it's a frequency thing first. So if you don't see, you're not small. And when you don't grok that, you're not small. You're missing a vital piece, because you're so big when you have this energy frequency that you emit, that you exude, that you, okay, a lot of people and a lot of times are like wallowing in, that it's outside of me. because you're so powerful and creation is at the behest of you, everything lines up and conspires to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, right on it. Except there's a problem with that, because if you've been going, but you don't understand, and it's this and this and this and this, you bet. And we just brought another 20, this and this and this and this and this is to up, get in line and pull the throat. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense to me.
if we can get in that space, and the space is as magical as a space of silence, which at first blush you might think is silent, but it's not, because it is all things and no thing at the same moment. And we will just pick the things, or isn't that what meditation is? Quiet the mind, silence, all that kind of stuff. And then what comes in? What comes in is all this awareness. What comes in is touching all that is you, touching you, all of the knowing, all of everything. So knowing how to do and be and create everything comes in different snippets, and you go, oh, I see. Oh, wow. There's revelations, there's insights, there's inspirations. Well, I thought it was silent, right? Mm-hmm. So in the bet on yourself and having that come for your big dream, if you boil it down, it's, are you honoring yourself? Are you loving yourself? Are you appreciating yourself? Are you going, I'm worthy? I think I'm worthy. Because all it is absolutely knows that you are. In fact, you wouldn't be on this planet at this moment right now if you weren't, because it's standing room only, and only the best of the best of the best who were ready, let me in to do all this stuff would be here.
What you're saying right there, I know is a difficult because I did this to myself in life a lot, right? Oh yeah, I'm worthy. No, I'm worthy. You damn Skippy, I'm worthy. Not full well knowing, but I was lying to myself. Mm-hmm. Because when I first started doing that, what folks have called mirror work, I got a handheld mirror and I sat and I looked in my eyes and I talked to myself. And I said the words, I love you. First of all, that was tough at first, to actually say those words to myself and not break eye contact with myself.
Right.
Okay, so that was one thing.
Because yourself was not going to lie back to you, even though you want to say something different.
And so this is the actual kind of stuff that I also did for myself, because and I don't do that enough. I think I actually haven't done that in a while. I did it the other day and I realized, oh, wait a minute. I should be doing this at least once a day, because, hey, that was a little hard again. So what's that about? And I'm also quite clear, as I've said before, that it's come to me that that's what the lives are. I'm not doing that for anybody else. I've said that a lot of times and a lot of people don't believe me, but I'm telling you right now, that is actually not for anybody but me. It is a way that apparently that I have chosen in some sort of weird ass way. Don't ask me, I've give up on that, because apparently that's just the way I'm supposed to do it. And if I don't do it that way, I generally don't do that. And so I know that that's the best way for me to do that. So for me, what you said there about, knowing that you're worthy, that is at issue for a lot of folks. And we can all sit there and say, no, I'm worthy. I know I'm worthy because I'm telling you, I'm calling you on it because I've done it to myself too. Now, maybe you do that every day, all day long. And if so, hey, kudos, man. I'm really glad for you. But that is not an easy thing. That's again, one of those, it's so simple and yet complex. But I also think it's very important. It certainly has been very helpful for me to do things like that because I am worth my own time. Thank you very much. And that's the other thing. You know, we give, especially in this day and age, there is more time and attention paid to these screens and whatever is going on there and with that one over there and oh wow, did you hear that over there, rather than right.
Yep.
And it's not just that, it could be anything, it doesn't matter, it could be anything, but it's certainly not it's just, you know, not fashionable or whatever. I don't even know. You know, a lot of people don't put a lot of stock in it, but I really feel like that is one of the things that I now see as a very important thing for myself. And you know, I always say your mileage may vary. I'm always sharing what has worked for me.
Well, you know, it's funny when you were talking holding the screen, you know, how many people go, well, you know, we have, I think what we were at 25, so 21 days left, right? Well, in 23 days, if things turns out the right way, then I can focus on my dreams. Because you're the decider for you. And if you're not worthy to focus on you right this moment, then how can you do anything for anybody else?
Yeah.
You truly can't. So what have you done for yourself lately? What act of genuineness, what act of love, what act of courtesy, what act of kindness, what act of, wow, that was really nice that you thought of me like that. Or wow, that was such a simple thing. I really appreciated that. I mean, I don't know, do you walk through the world doing that for other people? And if you do, how come you're not on the list doing it for yourself?
Yeah, that's a big thing, man.
Yes.
It really is.
Yep.
And so someone said, well, but what does it have to do with your dreams? Everything. It has to do everything with your dreams.
Yes, it does.
Because you can't, because a dream is not, you know, that kind of car or that going to that place on the globe that you want to go see, or it's an energy frequency. It's the soup of energy creational force that makes that up. And if you're not priming the pump and fueling the generator, this magical generator, this incredible holographic generator machine, and you have like the 3D printer. So you've got the best kick-ass 3D printer around right here. And if you're not fueling that, if you're not giving all the different components that needs to run and print and create and manifest these things at its best, then you're not starting where everything starts.
I like what you said there about the 3D printer bit.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, because the truth of the matter is that's a very real thing. I have felt for the longest time that eventually, you know, we talk a lot about manifestation, or you know, everybody has always, but I really feel like evolution, the human evolution, is actually heading towards those that are chosen to experience this in this particular way, which you know, this is what I think and feel at the moment, and this is what I'm moving towards. So this is evolution according to Sheila. Sheila's evolution. So hang in on that. But I really do feel like with focus, attention, intention, and total dedication to self and all of that. We are that 3D printer that you spoke of. You're absolutely right. We are the replicators. It is us. It just is us. All of those things.
This is one of those complex and simple at the same time, because the reality is you are a master creationist. We have created all of this in perfection. And so if we think we haven't mastered manifestation, that's the funny part right there.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's the biggest joke,
So good.
and we're waking up to the joke.
Yeah. So all you have to do is focus on where you wish to be, not what you wish you were leaving behind.
Right?
This is the new piece for me where I'm really fully grokking it, because I used to always say, but you don't understand. Nothing in my life works right now. And I was so right about that. So then I decided, let's be right about the fact that my life is working. Everything is so right about my life right now. And it was just that subtle, that complex, that simple shift right there that absolutely changes everything without changing anything at all. And it really is the most delicious place to be, because it's like that. I feel like I can teleportate now. I understand teleportation a little better. So it's more of I am happy, right? And so I am embodying happiness, or I am not happy. I am embodying absence of happiness. And both of those statements are true and accurate and creative, and will be experienced by me fully and completely. So to be mindful of what I'm choosing to create and to experience, and having like command of my focus and attention. Now I'm chucking and jiving. Now I'm feeling like the master manifester that I am, because I'm focusing and I've mastered my own attention, and I create that which brings me great pleasure and joy in all moments of now. And sometimes I have chosen some moments that are not full of joy. But you know what? I embrace those, and I am grateful to those experiences just as much as I am to the bliss and the joy. Because for me, I am more than just bliss and joy. And I like to experience all of me and to embrace all experiences.
Right. And it's interesting. And when you were describing that, two things came to mind towards the beginning: the segue from the printer, and you are that, right? So what you were talking about, if I choose to be happy or not happy, right? It's the color of the ink that you're putting in the printer then to replicate those things.
Yep.
And who's choosing the color of the ink? Right? And towards the end, when you were saying that, where there are some good things and some bad things, and you're not limited in your scope. You're not limited in the scope of anything. And so when there's something that has perhaps more noticeable complexity to it, or more noticeable shading to it, right?
Like,
To use that coloring of the ink analogy. And think of a photograph, or even the sky. Some things, if there's absolutely no clouds in the sky and it's just middle of the day, it's hard to take a photograph that shows more depth and more nuance in what's going on. So a lot of times, oftentimes people characterize it as more interesting, more breadth and depth to the subject matter, because it's more not as alive at that time of day, when the other things kind of give you a juxtaposition, give you the characteristics that spotlight what it is that you're looking at. And so I love the way that you were saying it, because again, it's akin to if something comes in, you're set to do something, and someone says, oh well, they just turned the power off in the neighborhood because I don't know, somebody hit a telephone pole, or someone cut with a shovel and cut a thing, and all of a sudden it changes everything. Except if you go, well, hang on, I'm going to light my own power metaphorically in this moment, and you can redo it. And then all of a sudden the power comes back on. Have you ever noticed how quickly you're letting an external force dictate something rather than choosing, oh, well, that's unfortunate. That's going to upset my timing. Okay, but I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to then do this because I'm putting that over there. I don't have a generator in my pocket big enough to run the whole house, or whatever it is, using that analogy. So, but you've chosen the point in that, instead of letting that choose you to get all head up about it, or letting that choose you, well, that's ruined everything. Well, has it really ruined everything?
Right.
And if that's the case, why are you letting everything in your life? Because you haven't bet on yourself for your dream. And the dream isn't just whatever that big thing is. It's all those moments that add up to the whole creational journey of that dream, and then this one, and then this one. And who's at the center of what each of us have been talking about? Who's the genesis of each of those that we've been talking about? Each one who's been talking about it.
Yep.
You can't get away from it.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know why this has come, but within our energetic envelope, there will be, because we're not doing this live, but there will be someone who has not, and it's more than you don't understand. And so what I want to say to you, whomever this will be, because I can feel it, it's like it's gotten stronger actually. It's for me, in regards to this conversation, keep your mind open and ask yourself, what if what is being spoken on here is actually so? What if, just imagine for a moment that this is so, that you truly are creator. Just play with that. Prove it to yourself. There are ways to do that. Nothing that's been spoken on here isn't something that a being cannot play with for themselves. Trust me. Ask me how I know that. Prove it to yourself. And because the truth of the matter is that it really is very simple, and we really do stop ourselves all the time, especially when we get to that, because that is just like BZ calls it, thinking small, feeling like you're not that. But what if, man? That's the biggest thing. That's why I say, for me, the bottom line, and that too is an energetic that has to, for me, at the very core of everything, is just to be and remain open to the possibilities. Because like I said, the truth is, for me, it is a truth. For whomever this is that's I'm feeling in the future, if that's not a truth for you, there's no harm in playing with it for yourself. Because what if it were true? I mean, it could be could make all the difference in the world for you. It certainly has for me.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing to just to play with that a little bit too is, you are the behest and the genesis of everything. And yes, does that mean you have to stand on a mountaintop and then erase the mountaintop and do everything all by yourself? No, because you are in collaboration and co-creation, and you can, just like you would pick up, a bottle of a certain color ink to put in your 3D printer, you may pick up other tools. You may go and and create another being to come to you and say, well, hey, I heard you were looking for one of these and I got one. I have two. I don't need this one. And, I think we could fashion it to do what it is that you're wanting to do, for it to hook up your rig or to do whatever it is. And we just do, well, you've brought that cooperation. It's co-creative cooperation. You've brought that to you. So yes, there is another being, right, who has brought you a thing, a component, right, a part that you needed. And in the collaboration, you fashion it to do what you wanted. Now, you may have been thinking, well, it has to have a certain price tag, and it's this, and it's going to take me forever, and you don't understand, and I got to do this. Or there's this that works great because it's a new thing, and hey, maybe down the road, I don't know, y'all patent it because it's the new way to do this thing that, right? That's how creation works. That's how new inventions work. That's how new ways and new expansion unfolds. Another way to say it is, that's who's going to take out the trash. You. Because it's that new unfolding. It's that new coalescing of energy and frequency in the soup of no-thingness turns into the new thingness that you wish to play with.
The trash taking out is by agreement. We've all agreed to play the trash game where we put it out on the curb on Tuesday evening, and then on Wednesday somebody comes by with a truck. So why can't we solve every new problem with a new contract, a new agreement, a new co-creation? And nothing has to limit or come between any creation that anyone desires. Because if you're desiring it, just know that there are others on planet Earth who desire to play with that too. And you will find them. They will find you.
Yeah, I'm really very clear. I am really very, very, very clear that now, I wasn't at first, but now I'm very clear that I pulled my gal pal posse in. I didn't used to be clear about that, but I get it now.
Good job.
I mean, I told Lisa, I stood, and it doesn't look exactly like what I thought when I stood in my backyard.
No, it looks better, right?
No, it really does. I stood in my backyard and put into the wind at the spring equinox that year in 2015 that I wished co-creative community. I wanted to be a part of a co-creative community. And, in my my little thing, I saw, learning how to garden, and I didn't really see tiny house thing at that point, but I just, I wanted community. I was looking for, at that time, I was actually looking on the internet at, what do they call those? It's some kind of community. It's ic.org. What is that? Independent, not they were like alternative, different, communities where people are, doing things together, right? And I really wanted to be a part of something like that. And I've seen now where that it is actually that. So that's for me, that's a dream. I'm going back to what we have for our title here: bet on yourself to materialize your dreams. So I stood in the backyard and I said, okay, this is my desire. This is what I would like. And I started moving towards that. By the end of that year in 2015, I was, doing the campfire chats. And then by the end of that next year, I had Lisa and Albert here. And then by the end of 2017, well, Conscious Conversation Central had started. So I can very clearly see, how by being open and not so terribly attached to, and I could see now where, oh, this is community. This is actually community. It's not exactly what I thought I had, but it was an underlying energetic that I was putting out to the universe that I wished to experience. And it's even better what has been showing up. And and for that, I had to show up for myself as well in a way that, again, I had to be willing to see, my dark shadow stuff, because being in co-creative community is not for the faint of heart. It's not like you get to, well, you can, everybody gets to choose. You can get all, butt hurt and take your toys and go home if stuff doesn't work out because you're so attached to a specific thing working on a specific way. Why, sure, but that was not at all what I was after. And I very clearly see, for me personally, looking back over this last 5 years, how this has all gone down, and the deliciousness of all of that is just, I don't know. It's like,
you bring up a great point too, and I just kind of, this is me responding to some of the people who've been chiming in. You were laying things out and thinking, wow, it's taken a long time, or this other thing. But a lot of it has to do with how much we show up for ourselves in each moment, and
yes,
how committed we are to ourselves in each moment, how distracted we allow ourselves to be. Squirrel, 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 because you don't understand. And so you were working on something and the squirrel went by, and what was it, 6 months or something before you got back to if you found that piece of paper that you had that great idea that was going to be all these steps to move forward, and you go, wow, hey, that's good. Wait a minute, I wrote that. Right? So part of it is, it's the same thing, with manifestation. You order up something for dinner, and then you're standing there thinking, oh, well, we're not going to wait. We're going to go out to a restaurant instead. And the delivery guy gets there and says, well, where are they? They just ordered, And we forget, because we're so preoccupied with the out there, that we don't let the in here drive it. And we don't value ourselves and honor that we're the genesis of something. We keep waiting, for out there. And the beauty of that, because we are so powerful, is we're going to keep waiting.
That's true. Yep, that is true.
That's how it works.
Yep. I keep being called to all the stripes on you, Lisa. The sun is coming in.
The sun is like right.
I don't know how you can see.
I love the sun.
Well, I love this title this time around, BZ. This was a great great conversation. And as with almost all of our conversations, it's a lot deeper than just what we got to here.
Yeah, so what I would end by saying, what can you do to bet on yourself today, in this moment and the next moment? And what will you do to set up a reminder, right? A hug, whatever it is, a tap you on the shoulder. And sometimes you may have to do it 52 million times in an hour.
Yep.
To remind yourself of that. What are the things in this fast moving pace and everything going on, and all the squirrels running around out there on Twitter and so on and so forth, right? To bring it back into here, and to choose to invest your energy and your creational force frequency in the places that serve you. So maybe it's 10 minutes on the out there stuff all the squirrels, you know, doing the weird tap dance sort of thing. And then the rest of it, it's other things. Because that dream really is from your heart. And that dream you have really is calling you, and you're calling it. And you really have that connection to it. So by God, it's worth just limiting the squirrel circus to 10 minutes or whatever it is, and the rest focusing on that. You know, in the don't understands, well, fit it in, you know, shave 2 minutes off the other thing here or there, and that's 4 minutes more of uninterrupted quality frequential time, not, you know, the linear stuff, to devote to that. And that's also a good way for you to do some sorting and sifting and winnowing in yourself and going, I guess it's really not a dream. I guess it's really not a heart inspired dream. I guess it's really not so core to me because I'm not doing any of those things. Okay, well, let it go. And maybe right there is that big bang going, wow, I was attached to that. I feel different. I let that go. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's a real thing too.
No, you're right about that.
So where can we fill that and let it just wash out and then look again, see again?
That comes that way. That's actually a very good point that you just made there. That's why I have really enjoyed actually every moment of what's been going on for me, because I never ever really allowed myself, I never gave myself the time, the opportunity, the depth of my own attention to find out what my likes and my dislikes, what I really thought I might enjoy or not. Or, you know, so it's like I never had, I never took the opportunity to get to know me on any kind of level, really. And so as I've been moving through my life in these moments, I just, that's why I say, as things present in my field, how does it make me feel? Does this make me feel good and expansive and moving towards what I feel is joy for me, or no? And make my choice based from that standpoint. You know, yeah, sometimes there might be little things for me to consider in that, but basically that open ended, that right there, and not being attached to how it looks, uh, or even really feels in the moment, except that, does it feel good and expansive, or do I feel constricted and I don't want to do that? Because if that's what it feels, I'm out. Because that's, I've had enough of that in my life.
Well, and I'm going to add something right there, because a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, but not all my stuff is good stuff or hard or easy stuff, or, you know, because when you say that, what gives my heart joy, you know, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, I would have said, but you don't understand. You can't all be fluffy bunnies and fun. You're right.
No,
but that's not what you're saying. No. So I just want to take a moment to say that. So there are things that, you know, I might phrase it in a slightly different way, but that goes for that kind of core energetic that I'm looking for. It may show up in different ways. It may show up just being with that view and the sun and doing absolutely nothing. Or it may be going for a hike and getting lost and then getting found and then coming back down. It could be a whole bunch of things. It could be, you know, like doing a BQH session and a certain part of a BQH session and discovering certain things in depth, a lot for in detail the first time. So for me, it may look and feel, especially if I'm describing it externally to others, as a very large range of emotions or a very large range of good things and bad things, right? But for me, that core open-heartedness, that core expansion, that core joie de vivre, where there is that creational force, that as I step through each of those things, as I play with and fully meet with all of those things, that joy, that expansion, that new level of my creational force has reached a thing, whether seemingly to someone else, and hey, the little me at some points along the way, it's great stuff or really bad shit, doesn't matter, because that central focus, that betting on me, is getting me to my dreams, because it's empowering me. It's polishing up the laser focusedness of my creational force. And the Genesis point, you know, I've got this amazing Genesis magic wand that lights these things up for me.
Well, I'm glad you explained it in that, because I was sitting here thinking to myself, yeah, I could see where the way I couch it, the way I describe it for myself is confusing to others. And this is, again, for me, keeping in mind that we all speak our own version and brand of English. And that's just the way it is. So I get it, where it could be kind of confusing, because I've moved towards things that are hard and difficult and actually sad, but it is actually a joyful act in the doing of, as it is serving me in perhaps a different way. So I am still moving towards that with joy and gladness in my heart for the actual movement of moving towards it, because I know, first of all, even though it may be difficult or hard or whatever, that the bottom line of it is a joyful thing for me. So thank you actually for that, the way you explained that. I could see where the way
I think we have misnomers too about what joy is. Even it's because there can be the joy in seeing beauty and great tragedy. There are so many ways to take what is before you and focus on that which brings you the most joy. That is, so for me, it's about a highest perspective one can attain in that moment. And to do so, set yourself free in that moment completely, to just be with what is and to allow it, and to be shaped and formed and informed by the beauty of it, and then choosing, right, how to proceed, which gives honor to, you know, that experience in its totality, even if it isn't bliss and peace and happiness in that moment.
right. Thank you for that too, because that's exactly right. And for me, goes right to the point that I have always said, that our language, it really, we we've been we've tricked ourselves into thinking that the definitions of words are the be all end all, right? But that's not how that works. It's absolutely the experiences, they form and inform one. So thank you for that too, Lisa. I love that. I love too what you said about the choosing to move forward to that pays homage and uh, to the choice in and of itself, and homage to self as well. The choosing, uh, again, think of the difference in the frequential, just if everyone was choosing their highest, right? That would, it
And
absolutely changes
they're
everything.
the ones choosing it. So in that moment, their highest may be to, from the external person over here, dig down to the lowest thing, to remember or whatever thing in any whatever that happens to be, because that's the highest, because that lets them get through, because that empowers them, because that shifts the distortion of the polarity that we're in this sphere, in this game, right? And lets them widen their aperture and go, oh wow, I see. You know, and the other thing that's interesting is that it's a really common thing, you know, it goes right back to the title of, you know, bet on yourself. So you could write the words together, but it's yourself, that which is you, the very essence of you. Bet on that to materialize your dreams. And each dream builds on the next, because if you're holding this, if you're holding in sync with your heart, you won't miss anything ever, because you just keep creating the best of all of it. And it's an expansive kaleidoscope of color journey.
I love that. Yeah. Wow, this has really been a good one, ladies. We haven't done this in a while, so this was awesome.
Girl.
Say what?
I missed you, girl.
I know, right? I know, that's right. Me too. So I'm going to, hopefully I'll be able to get this out. Do either one of you have anything you'd like to add before we close this energetic envelope?
Bet on yourself, baby.
Yeah, just big cyber hugs to all who are embracing and loving themselves. This is really an exciting moment we're all in. I'm really happy to participate in this manner and with all of you.
Yeah, same. So hopefully I'll be able to get this up. I'm going to try to get this up on the channel before, you know, I don't know if anybody will have the opportunity to see it, but we will be going live this evening too, if you have had the opportunity. So at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, which is October the 6th, 2020, the three of us will be back. That is the plan. Barring any issues, we will be back at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to do a live decode of the video that I did, which is Heather's writing that was originally published on July the 13th, 2017. And it was entitled Trust All On. Oh, well, it said on the 13th, didn't it? Or did I put that
published,
wrong?
it was published on the IUV. It's originally published on her Unidynamics.
Yeah, it was originally published on Unidynamics on July 12th. So thank you guys for coming and participating in this one. BZ from On Location. I love that background you're in there. Perhaps we'll get rid of the prison stripes on Lisa's face for the next one. Well, it'll be nighttime by then. So thanks, everybody. We love you. Till next time. Mwah.